I want to talk about, going from sort of the biggest the biggest, esports event this year, basically, to sort of another topic about the smallest of the small esports and what makes a game an esport, because that's come up a lot recently. The main thing that I heard that made me kind of scratch my head was that Ubisoft wants to make Just Dance an esport. That's basically what the headline for the articles are around the internet, is that Ubisoft is deciding that Just Dance is an esport now. And the quote that I wanted to bring up was that for the 11th edition of the Electronic Sports World Cup, the founder of the Electronic World Cup says, "We are very proud to widen the definition of esports with Ubisoft," said Matthew Dallin. Competitive gaming has to welcome all kinds of players, has to be developed in partnership with the game's publishers, and has to showcase the most advanced technologies which link the body to the game. Just Dance is the perfect ESWC medium to reach those goals. Or Just Dance is for ESWC the perfect medium to reach those goals.
So are they talking about the mobile Just Dance? Is this the one that they're bringing?
I don't think so. Just Dance Now?
Yeah.
No, I would assume they would take like this year's version or
Just
whatever.
Dance proper.
Okay.
Yeah, there are several different Just Dances that are going to be played throughout various qualifiers between June 24th and September 21st, and the finals will be hosted in Paris. So they didn't say the prize pool for what that is, but the main question that I ask myself is, just because Ubisoft says that this is an esport, does that make it an esport? And I think the answer is no. What do you guys think?
So before we answer, I want to know why you think no.
I think no because I feel like games like this, Matthew Dallin is saying, games have to be developed with esports in mind, but I feel like the community is what makes a game an esport, not the developer. I feel like, if a game has a spectator mode and replays and stuff, that is helping it become an esport, but like having a community there, playing the game competitively and giving feedback, and I just feel like I'm torn because I feel like the thing that I'm thinking about in my head is Hearthstone.
Yeah.
And Blizzard says this is not an esport. We don't want Hearthstone to be an esport.
But it is.
Meanwhile, hundreds of thousands of people are streaming it every day. There's competitive talk about it. There's a metagame around it.
Yeah.
There are tournaments for it. There are big tournaments for it, like including Blizzard's own $250,000 Hearthstone tournament. Yet they still say it's not an esport. To me, the community made Hearthstone an esport. I
get that.
I don't feel like Ubisoft now saying we have a tournament for our game, so it's an esport, makes it an esport to me. Maybe we have to define what an esport is before you can say that.
Yeah, maybe, because I don't know. I'm of the mind that if Ubisoft says, hey, we're in this tournament, therefore we're an esport, that's fine. If you don't have a spectating aspect, if you don't have a huge community there, that's fine.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily make them...
You're just a bad esport. Like
That's
you're
what I was just gonna say.
That's the thing. Like
It's a competition.
Yeah.
Rather than a ongoing thing.
Sure, but I don't think you necessarily need to have this like sprawling season thing to be a sport. It's helpful. Like LCS is obviously like a very big example of that. I don't know. There's dance in the Olympics, right? Like figure skating is essentially choreographed dance in the same way that Just Dance is. Not to say that they are remotely equal in terms of skill necessary to compete.
Sure.
But at a fundamental level, it's like, all right, this is dancing. And there are certain skills required to compete, and that you'll be judged and blah, blah, blah. Like all of the fundamentals are there to say, like, this is a competitive thing. Its validity as an esport, like you said, will be totally dictated by the community. If people don't care, then it will go away.
Yeah. And I mean, I've heard of a lot of developers saying that they're developing their game to be an esport. And I feel like that just goes against what esports is. Like, you hope that eventually it will be there, and it's great that you're developing with that in mind so that, your game has replays and spectator mode, like you're saying, and like the ability to, function like that. But I don't necessarily know if that means what they think it means.
Yeah, I think this is part of their whole. They have like an initiative that Ubisoft owns and they try to bring in like it's for games from all different developers, right? This is I forget the exact name.
I don't remember either.
I'm not sure about that either.
But yeah, it's such a weird thing to me that like it can be like I hope they succeed and it is something that succeeds. But I'm not sure where they're going with this. Like I don't like.
Yeah.
It's all community based. Like that's what esports is for me at least. It's community. Like purely community. Like,
and Just Dance has an enormous community. Like the player base for that game is ridiculous.
But
do any of them care about following it competitively?
I don't think they do.
I agree. Whereas people who play Dota and League and Counter-Strike are inherently more interested in that game as a competitive sport because it is a higher skill threshold than Just Dance, I would say.
Yeah, in terms of that there are the skill ceiling for those games is
enormous,
incredible.
Yeah.
And that you can have competitive discussions about it. I'm maybe you can about Just Dance. I don't know what the high level Just Dance players who they are, but maybe they're.
Who's the Dendy of Just Dance?
Oh my God.
It's Usher. Usher is the Dendy of Just Dance.
Lady Gaga. I mean, yeah. What do you think, Brian?
It's just sometimes it's like, oh, what's a sport? And then people are like, okay, well, what are esports sports? And now we're going like,
is a competitive gamer an athlete? Like that whole
I don't know. It's
spiraling out of control.
Is it now that there's like some sort of prize pool to sport? Is it like what if you're just speed running and you're there's sort of like the competitions for like Super Mario 64? Like, is that an esport? Because you're competing to get the highest time. Like, I don't know. I'm not really concerned with like saying this is or this isn't a sport. It's just like, is this a good one that's worth people's time?
Yeah, I'm less concerned about the logistics of like, well, is it or isn't it? It's like, well, do I care to watch it? Yes or no? The end.
I actually might watch it.
That's fine.
Purely out of curiosity. But I also think we should start our own Just Dance esports team.
Good.
Here in the office.
Yep. Super on board with this.
All right. Well, I'll watch from the sidelines. I'm not going to be on.
That team down.
I believe in you, bro.
Is Mitch our carry?
Oh my
I'm
God,
definitely your Just Dance carry.
I'll support you.
Good.
That's just backup dancers.
That's how that game works, right?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I think you're right though. It's kind of lame to be like, well, is this an esport or is it not an esport? I mean, it's tough because you want, like you were saying, you want them to succeed. If we want esports as a whole to succeed.
Yeah.
It's just I hope that it works and
yeah. I feel like there's a knee-jerk reaction to be like, oh, Just Dance, that game's dumb. I don't want it to be like. It's fine. Like, it's a popular game. It's a good game.
Yeah. We don't care, but
yeah,
maybe people will.
Maybe,
and maybe they'll be happy playing this and competing. I don't know. Best of luck.
Yeah. Good luck, dancers.